Listen, just a little bit of advice. Don't turn into a plugin junkie. Get used to what you're already got. Your DAW probably has pretty decent plugins. Learn how to use those. It's not about necessarily getting the right plugin, but learning how to adjust the parameters and the aspects of simple basic plugins, because you could get advanced plugins and you're just shooting in the wind every time because you don't actually know what you're doing. You want to know what you're doing, you want to know the parameters, how to adjust stuff, whether it's equalization, mastering and compression. We're also talking instrument plugins, adjusting stuff. There's so many plugins and so many people selling their plugins now. You can just go on this, and I'm guilty of it. You go on this, just like search for like the next plugin. You're spending so much time looking for plugins and then trying to learn how to use it. And half the time, they're not even really what you want. They're not what you think you're gonna get. And so then here, you're downloading this, 1-2 gigabyte plugin. Maybe it's for Contact Player, and it's not even, it's not even that impressive. There's a lot of new ones out there. I've gotten some, and that's why I'm making this video, because it gets to the point of ridiculousness where, you invest in some kind of kit, Native Instruments, you can get a big set of stuff. It's like $400. You get all this stuff, and you pretty much don't need anything else. Sure, you can go searching, you can spend your time, you can get free stuff, you can tag in all these, delay and reverb plugins on top of it. You find yourself just burning all this time and effort trying to, learn different plugins. And before you know it, your DAW has just a huge list of all these options, and it kind of just turns into a mess. Now, you may love that chaotic mess. You may be this person who's like, yeah, I've got the treasures, I've got them all. I've got this plugin, I've got that, and you're all proud of it. Well, I guess if that's, if that's what makes you feel good, being proud. But honestly, producing music through simple understanding of what you got and making the best of what you got. I'm not saying there aren't good plugins out there. I'm not saying, don't find good plugins. But if you're making music and you get into this whole plugin thing where you're going on this rampage, and then there's the whole part of sound design. If you start getting into sound design, you may just be spending so much time and you're just doing it to feel good about yourself. You're just doing it because you feel special that you made something unique. And did you get a song out there, with it? Like, I'm just saying, check yourself, see where you're going with it, be real. For some people, they're a producer and they shouldn't even be a producer. Somebody else should be a producer. They should be focusing on their singing or their guitar playing or both, and having someone else produce their music instead of burning all the time. They could be creating all this music, giving God the glory for what God is pouring out through them. You don't need to be sitting there burning all this time learning how to do this and learning how to do that and doing so much stuff if you're just not gifted in it, and it's just turns into this chaos, and you're just spending hundreds, thousands of hours learning and doing all this stuff. It may not be the right fit for you. I have spent maybe 20 years, not quite 20 years, 17 years producing music and doing stuff, and I absolutely love it. It's a passion of mine. I enjoy it, and I grow in skill with it. There are other people that I know that I can just tell they're a writer. They need to focus on their art of how they do and sing and play. Me, I use instruments and instrumentation to fulfill what I hear and want to produce. We're all just different. We all have our different thing, our different calling, the way we operate differently, and a lot of times that shifts in life. Sometimes you become this producer person that you need to be for a time so that you learn how to do stuff. This is bugging me right here. Get some even hairs going on. Anyway, I digress. Point being, don't get caught up in the rat race of plugins, finding the best plugin, trying to, do this and meet all these, plugins that are supposed to give you this awesome, and you're listening to all these sounds and reviews and stuff. And it may be something you can use, but a lot of times these things are like gigabytes, and depending on how big your hard drive may be only a 256 or a 512 or a 1 terabyte, and before you know it, you're just eating up gigs which could be being used for music. Now, obviously, yeah, you can add additional external hard drives, but just listen. I mean, I've seen my Mac just pack up with a lot of stuff, and then I gotta take off projects. I'm not filled up, no, but I can see it going quickly. It's really easy to use data, and these plugins, these virtual instruments, they're massive. Some of them are 4 gigs, you know. You can get this, some of these sets where you're spending, $200, $400, even $2,200 for like this whole gamut of everything a company offers, and you're looking at hundreds of gigabytes of stuff to download and install and do all this. And in my personal opinion, a lot of it's just not necessary. I'm not saying you're not going to use it all, you're not going to browse it all, but if you're trying to accomplish a goal on a mission, you don't want to be sitting there burning hours and sometimes even just 10 minutes on something that's just irrelevant. So before you start getting plug-in greedy and even there's a lot of free stuff out there, my just advice, the wisdom is don't get everything. Don't burn it all. Don't give yourself so many options that it becomes a cluster and you can't even think straight, or you're distracted by these other options. The few stuff that you use that's good and quality, in my opinion, that's gonna be good. Everyone's different. Some people may like 1,000 things and they go through it all. But if you're just shooting in the wind and doing whatever and you have no mission and you're just kind of yada yada yada, yeah, you can sit and burn hours and days and weeks, months, years just doing whatever. But if you're trying to get something done, find a focus. That's just my wisdom that I'm bringing to you. This may not fit everybody, this may not fit you, but if it does, hey, God bless you, and hope the best. Hope you're doing exactly what God calls you to do, what God has for you to do, what He's put in your heart to do, and you're not being distracted by anything else.